on the map, which he's best at. So taking the Terizla out, a lane bully away from Yellow, I think is a good choice. Even a Brody here to respect the pressure that Zia can put into that gold lane. As you can see, 3 gold lane bans in total for the side of Dewa United. Meanwhile, for TOB, Coach Mr. Mao is only given 1 respect ban over, and it's the Claude. Knowing what, we know that he has a lot of heroes that he can play, marksmans in the gold lane, and maybe that's where they're trying to get a win over Zia. Zia may be good, but in terms of hero pool, Watt may have a bit of an advantage. And it forces Zia on a pick like an Irithel here. What's Watt gonna play?
What are the options? Irithel? Beatrix. I would say Leslie's an option, but against the composition of the Ohio brothers, I don't think it's a safe pick.
Against a Novaria as well?
Yeah, that's just too much catch, too much AoE CC. It's too risky. I think the safest bet that they can go for is Beatrix. Who else can pick up Purify though? Carry? But in this patch?
It should still be okay, the carry. We did see Benny Cutie as well successfully pull off a carry yesterday. With an Akai, proper cover as well, they'll go for the Paquito and a Beatrix. But this leaves... Whoa! Arlet Roam, Paquito XP.
My fight goes on.
That should be it. That should be the combination that Dewa United are trying to utilize here. But with a Beatrix pickup.
Martis.
You think Martis? I think Guinevere is going to go to the jungle.
Oh, true.
And I think the Yu Zhong might be picked up here by Mielo. Against the Arlet, okay matchup. And he can dive into the Beatrix really, really well. And he does go for that Yu Zhong to end off the draft.
Dewa United. I think we mentioned that the Ohio brothers have a lot of catch, but Dewa United, they also do have that, right? They have the Arlet for the final slash. They have the Engage coming in from the Akai as well. There's just a lot of CC coming through. And I think it might be a difficult time in these team fights for the Ohio brothers.
We'll see. Both of them have a proper win con, right? They have win con set in stone here. For the side of TOB, they can utilize their heavy advantage in mobility. The fact that they have a Mathilda, the fact that they have so much survivability and range, they can constantly just poke out Dewa United. Meanwhile, for Dewa, they can kind of do the same, but it's not from range. It's from looking for small trades through skirmishes, a little bit back and forth for both these teams.
So let's just get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen, for match 15, game number 1 between the Indonesian representative Dewa United and the representative from North America, the Ohio brothers. Earlier on, right now, we already see some trades of damage being put onto one another in the mid side. And both teams, it looks like they're going to go for an aggressive stance. Best player 1 already clearing a lot quicker than the Akai, however.
It's really time for all of you guys watching back at home to comment in the comment section down below. Use the live chat to pop in hashtag Dewa win or hashtag TOB win. Show your support. One of these teams will be going home with a loss here, and the other will be going to the knockout stages, qualifying to the lower brackets.
I'm thinking here. Does Keys really want to engage onto this?
Wow, that's a flicker burnt out very early on by Hoon. Has to respect the damage, I get it. But that's an advantage that TOB can look to, or Dewa can look to punish even more. Dixon has been more active so far, but he hasn't actually sacrificed any farm. He's still at the same level completely as Mielo. He could jump over with a Violet Requiem as well. First blood taken away by TOB as Hoon gets a snipe from downtown over to Shaco.
Beautiful start for the Ohio brothers. Despite getting triggered into losing a few resources in the early stage of the game, they're still able to make it back into their own with Milo now in a 1v1 against Dixon. They should know where he is, but best player 1 goes in for that engage, looks to take away this from Ray.
Good win. Small wins that'll build up, and TOB are getting a lot of small wins on the board. Even this Irithel winning in lane against a legend in Watts. Meanwhile, what happened up top? Shaco was able to equalize the kill here with a kill onto Shark.
Whew. Now it looks like Dewa United are going to be the first ones to set up for the neutral objective. But look at Hoon come, and so does best player.
It's a Requiem there, but a heavy spin as well. Ray forced back a great Astral Spear, and that should be A turtle secured, but it's secured by Mielo. A furious dive as well. Dixon diving in deep, going for a few good shots. Mielo gets out, and TOB walks out with a win.
That damage combination and that follow-up coming in from Milo was just the cherry on top to a really good engage coming in from best player 1. And all the while, he was still able to gain that neutral objective. And Dewa United, they're falling far behind. 1k gold lead difference already for the Ohio brothers in the first 3 minutes of the game. And for the most part, Watt and Zia, it looks like they've been trading in favor of Zia. Your Earth already level 5. Is he leading in the lane?
He should be. In this matchup, it should be the Iritho who has an advantage over. But remember, when it comes down to this Beatrix, I would say it's more of a team fighting pick. They will need to try to utilize Watt outside of that lane. If TOB constantly push Watt into this lane, shove him back with the pressure they have in mid, TOB will be able to actually get into the mid game with a big advantage.
Let's hope that they allow it to happen, right? Or let's hope that Dewa United are able to stave off the pressure. Wow, best player 1 again. Being able to find that opportunity and just give a lot of pressure, force that recall onto Keys. That's going to deny that rotation. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Zia
doing a good job. 1v3 now pinned down. And that should be the Vengeance picking up a free kill. But Zia, oh wait! He gets out of the guiding win! Followed through though by Shackle. A Violent Requiem by best player 1. Now pinning down Ray, knocking him up. He still is able to get out with a head bump, but Super Shark takes him down. Now it's Shackle flickering out to safety under the turret. Who's it worth for, Eterna? It's a gold lane, traded in for a jungle. They get Shackle. It'll be worth it for TOB for sure. Watts now dodging away from the spatial migration. Now it's best player 1 who's tanking, soaking up the damage from the turret. But it's a good clear over from Watt. Meanwhile up top, Mielo popping into Black Dragon form, looking to turn it around onto Kaze. He knows he doesn't have a Purify. A good play by Mielo. But Kaze is forced to use that BDF, stealing it away from Mielo as well.
Whew, wow, what a long engage there from both of these teams. Both teams understand the stakes right now as they go for more!
A good pin down from Ray, and even Dixon with the help of the final slash from Shackle. Zones Hoon and Shark away. BP1 looking for retribution, spatial migration coming in, a good stun, but wow! What? Best player 1 secures the second turtle for TOB.
That must feel so horrible for Dewa United after that long and a drawn engage from Dewa United. The first team to actually set up for that neutral objective. All best player 1 needed to do was come over, drive by, use that retribution, and take away that entire setup away from Dewa United. Earlier on, I would have thought that that engage in the bottom side would be worth it for Dewa United. I think losing Zia is a little bit more expensive, especially that there were no neutral objectives on the board. But even with Ray spawning in at the right time for that neutral objective take, he still lost it towards the Ohio brothers. And look at them go for more!
The pickoff has been phenomenal. Best player 1 has been phenomenal. What an amazing initiation. And now Watts forced to play it real safe. Nibiru Passion just to clear out the wave in the bottom lane.
Technically, Dewa United already gave Watt a little bit of time to try and catch up with the, I would assume, a gold deficit between these two gold laners, especially with the pickoff onto Zia. But still, he's still unable to catch up. And remember, Watt is a veteran in this lane, and he's losing to Zia.
And that's an Astral Echo that reveals Watt, gets that hitbox enlarged, and Watt will be connected over onto that Astral Sphere. But for Dewa, they'll be able to still minimize their losses through clearing these waves and cutting as well. Dixon up top cutting with Mielo. Kaze trying to hit Mielo back. Getting some good poke onto him, and Dixon might be able to push the tempo even more by getting a good jab in with a knockout strike. And that's exactly what they do. Dewa trying to delay, trying to slow down the tempo of the game that TOB is bringing to them.
At this point, who holds the kills in for Dewa? 1 on Ray, 2 on Shackle. So the heroes, the players that you would naturally see as the carries, haven't been able to acquire the resources that are needed. Kay's still sitting at 0-0-1, an assist to his name. And being so far behind, it looks like the Ohio brothers will have a better time in setting up for this turtle. You can already see Dixon.
Still able to get out. Doesn't use a sprint just yet. Ray has a heavy spin. The Black Dragon form going to be committed by Yellow right now as the heavy spin comes down by Ray, and it's best player one who wins another retry battle despite the heavy spin committed down. Dewa will just look for a trade in the bottom lane instead of committing down here. Sia going to be engaged on by Dixon. Some good damage, but it's not enough to take him down. A spatial migration not connecting, and Dixon will be able to still clear out the wave. Dewa maneuvering up top. No heavy spin to pin anyone down, but it's all just to buy some space for the X factor of Dewa, Watt, to farm up.
They need to. Oh no, Silver Shark! He gets taken down really early on there. A small win for Dewa United here as they look to put a little bit more pressure in this top lane. He needs to be careful though. Best player one is lurking. He's looking for that opening, giving some support over on to Zia. There you go.
It's a good spatial migration. It's a good bait out of the Purify. 90 seconds, it's going to be down, so TOB will try to look for a play in that window.
Meanwhile, Milo and Dixon just going at it, looking to get more pressure onto those side lanes. In this 1v1 of the Paquito and the Yuzong, what do we think?
If it's just a quick trade, it should be the Paquito who wins it, but if Milo can force an all-in by landing a Furious Dive, a Petrify, it's the Yuzong.
All right, so that's what we're going to be expecting, and I think perhaps Dixon has a little different idea elsewhere. He looks like he's rotating towards his top side. The Ohio brothers looking for a setup onto Watt. Hasn't been able to find it just yet, so both teams are actually posturing right now. The one thing that I'm really worried about is best player one is a level ahead of Ray. So even if Dewa United want to go and commit onto this next neutral objective that is spawning in 15 seconds, I would say that best player one has more of an advantage with the level lead.
I'd say so too, right? I mean, the level lead breath gets you a little bit more damage on your Retribution. But the thing is, if you're against an Akai, the level lead doesn't really matter that much. It's about how you can bait out the heavy spin. The heavy spin effectively creates almost not a contest. Best player one though! He wants to just jump in, no neutral objective control. What a beautiful spatial migration, Astral Echo play. You can see that BP1 just jumped into the middle, but because the hitbox was enlarged and already multiplied, he got all two. But Ray, oh no, Mielo, he's gonna be caught by the heavy spin, pinning him down. Mielo gets picked off. Oh, the guiding wind from Super Shark saves Mielo. They've used the heavy spin, they baited it out, and now it just comes down to the retry battle of Ray and best player one. Another spatial migration, jumping in. Ray looking for the retribution onto the Lord. It's a contest that best player one wins. 4-0 in retry battles.
The Ohio brothers, the representatives from North America. Their flag raises high here in this match as they have completely destroyed Dewa United in that team fight. Being able to take the Lord, being able to take two members down from Dewa United. Dewa unable to find a single trade whatsoever. It looks like Watt should be able to deal some damage onto the Lord. But that tower is definitely going down in favor of the Ohio brothers.
Dixon though down or up top trying to go for the defense, but he might actually be caught off. He jumps in with two shots, but Zia is able to just walk him down with the rest of the team helping him out, backing him up in the XP lane.
With being so far behind, you understand Dixon's sentiment. He's looking for some trades over the board. He was looking for that tower in the top side, a little bit of a window of trade for Dewa United, despite being 6,000 gold behind. And unfortunately, the Ohio brothers with, like we mentioned from the drafts, right, the mobility buff that they have with the composition is so quick to follow that up. Dewa United, what's their plan B? They couldn't go for what they were trying to do in the early game. Now we're resorting to the mid game. That unfortunately, they're kind of behind.
The composition was built around neutral objectives. That's the reason you go for the Akai. Unless you want to go for big team fights as well, I guess it's a good combo, but mainly it's neutral objective control. All four of those neutral objectives that has been the main goal of Dewa has gone to TOB. The team with the better poke range and for right now, team fighting. That's what TOB has been able to force out every single time, if you guys notice. In the mid lane, the Lord spawns bottom, they go for a big fight. They use that Astral Echo and best player one's spatial migration to just look for a big engage. And now they're doing the same thing, using the poke, zoning Dewa away and picking up freebies around the map.
Looking at the items here from the side of Beatrix, already with the BOD and the Malefic Roar, the damage is there for Watt. The problem is, every time they go for a team fight, Best Player 1 in combination with Hoon is always very quick to deny that damage away from the team fight. So, sure, they have a really good team fight composition with the DHS as well now being secured in by Watt. But the problem is, how do you sustain him? How do you protect him long enough to deal the damage that he was built for?
I don't know, man. At this point, right, like for Dewa, they're really lacking, I wouldn't say damage, because if they are able to gap close against TOB, they'll have that damage. But they're really getting outclassed in that mobility department. You can see the guiding wind, the sprint, the maneuvers from every single member from TOB being the pain of Dewa's composition. Every time Dewa wants to initiate, there's always going to be something that gets them out of it. So Dewa has no way to pin anyone down.
Technically, Dixon.
Not
Technically, Shaco. Can't they go for, a flank? Try and find those members in the back line?
They can, but it's very easily dodged away from. Remember, they have a sprint, they have Hoon who can just use the Astral Recall to maneuver around walls to make it really hard for Dewa to follow. Even this backline, it looks vulnerable on paper, but then you see how they play with these heroes, and it's not. It's a free Lord. Just from TOB, clearing waves, setting up, they get a free Lord, and it's a 7,000 gold lead that has been built up by the Ohio brothers.
You're right, even the guiding wind can take you out of nasty spots.
Exactly.
We've seen it time and time again. Super Shark being able to protect Blessed Player 1 with, 1 HP? Even Zia, time and time again, gets protected. Not to mention with the Flask of the Oasis, that also helps negate and causes miscalculations. Best Player 1, Shaco.
All alone as a roamer. If he just sacrificed himself for the Lord to be cleared out, it should still be worth it for Dewa United.
Dixon.
But TOB are looking for more, not just that top side with the Lord. Ray trying to defend it right now, pops in Retribution, finds Zia with a heavy spin! That's a disaster for TOB, gets knocked up and shut down. A good engage by Mielo, going out the cage, but he might lose his life to the turret. One more shot and he will be saved by Super Shark. It turns out to be a win for TOB. A slight win, but my goodness, that Flask of the Oasis saving Mielo in that dive.
That was such good cover. Again, right? The Flask of the Oasis. Literally, we were talking about that right before that whole battle occurred in that mid lane. The fact that it causes so many miscalculations. Initially, it was a really good play by Keys. They lost the inhibitor turret, however, and Keys eventually had to lose his life as well. 5,600 gold lead still in favor of the Ohio brothers. Let's take a look at that replay. What exactly occurred back then? This is it.
Zia mispositioning, man. That headbutt into the heavy spin. Super Shark was ready with a guiding win earlier, but unfortunately he wasn't able to tap it because of all the cancels. Then the clutch healing. Super Shark saving the team. How many times have we seen a guiding win to save the team this game?
So many times that if I asked you to do every one with a push-up, I don't think you could do it.
I think I can still do it.
It's like more than 100.
Okay, I don't think the game has gone on for 15 minutes, Eterna. I think it's definitely not 100, maybe 10. Oh, Hoon pops in that Astral Echo. Doesn't reveal anyone. And Dewa just clears out the wave still. The longer this game goes, by the way, the riskier it gets, the harder it gets for TOB. They have some solid scaling, but so does Dewa. That Valentina, the Paquito as well, to control the side waves. TOB are going to have a bit of trouble. The Yuzong is more of a team-fighting hero, not a split-pushing one, and if Dixon can continue the split push, he might be able to take away the spearhead for initiations. But it's out of TOB. Best Player 1 jumps in onto Ray, but his heavy spin comes down as well. Shaco. Final slash begins to back, but Shaco's the one who gets deleted. The TOB collapse. That's a good petrify. Kaze forced to use the Winter Truncheon right now. The burst damage comes through with BEF from the side of Kaze is not enough to get him out. TOB get a massive 2-for-0 right as the Lord spawns back in the game. Enhanced Lord should be taken for free by the Ohio brothers.
That 4v5 team fight doesn't really go according to plan here for Dewa United. Sure, Dixon was able to push one turret in the top side, but not even the inhibitor turret was touched. And that was in trade for 2 members from their own side taken down, and the Ohio brothers securing yet another free Lord of the game.
Intelligent
that's
initiation.
the 3rd Lord.
And it's intelligent initiation, Eterna, from the side of TOB. The way that they have been able to just force fight so that the side lane control won't be of any use for the side of Dewa United. Look at the way they're now marching down into the mid lane. They might actually force a complete end with the Paquito being in the bottom lane. It's an enhanced Lord. Ray still holding out in the mid lane, not letting it crash into the base. Zia has now returned into the team. The heavy spin now is going to be used up by Ray to start and delay a team fight from TOB. A siege onto the base. Vixen positioning in the flanks, looking for a position, looking for an angle to get a good knockout strike to bring TOB back to the team. But for Dewa, they will be able to defend in the mid lane and even up top in that base turret. A good Astral Echo reveals 4, gets 4. Black Dragon formed by Mielo, but it gets chunked quite low. Good zoning for TOB. They get a free base turret, and now it's going to be a Furious Dive as well. Knocking him up. It might be an all-in, but Ray's still able to survive. Shack with a Vengeance. Sixon jumping into the back left, knockout strike, and Hoon picks up a kill from downtown. Dewa still in it to try to defend. TOB. 3 HP bars low, gets a spatial migration. Best player 1 disengages one more time. And TOB with 3 waves, with 3 base turrets, is a good Astral Spear. Onto Watt. 4v5, Mielo with a Furious Dive. That's another good Astral Echo. Best player 1 with an engage that might have just sealed the deal. Ray gets a pin down onto Zia, but Case is not able to follow it up just yet. Now the base wide open. A few minute waves crashing down, but Vixen's still able to do a little bit of a defense here with a minute wave. It's just 1 cannon minion that Ray's trying to deal with. TOB doesn't care. They don't want a team fight. They want the win, and they'll qualify to the knockout stages of MPLI 20.